Good morning, my dear students. My name is Palaj বিশ্বাস, Assistant Professor, JS College of Engineering, Department of Mechanical Engineering. And today discuss the computer graphics. This is under the subject of computer aided designs, the lecture number 5. And computer graphics. Computer graphics is an art of drawing picture on computer screens with the help of programming. And another things also will be here. It involves the computations, creations and manipulations of data, and this will be used during toward the computer graphics. And another things, in other words, we can say that the computer graphics is a rendering tools for the generations and manipulations of the image, and you have to consider according toward the image will be converted during toward the computer graphics. And basically we can see or the graphics of your the computer is the dedicated version will be much more, then your the picture or the image will be clean properly, and also the the resolutions will be higher during to your the image during to this the computer graphics will be the higher. And the primary output device in a graphical system is the video monitors also will be here. Basically the different type of video is seen during to your the computer graphics, and like the graphical systems will be monitored properly. And the cathode ray tube, this cathode ray tube is the primary output device in a graphical system is the video monitors. And basically the cathode ray tube comes from the video monitors, and this will be the first primary output device which will be the graphical systems, and also the video monitors is the properly the main elements of a video monitors is the cathode ray tube. This like is considered the CRT. Cathode ray tube will become CRT, and the CRT is shown in the following installation. That means the this is the comes from this the your the CRT, that like your the cathode ray tube. There is you can see the this is the tube will be here, and also the phosphorus phosphorus parts also will be considered, and you have to the connectors is the pins and also base, and electron guns also will be given during to this electron guns will be given to this the focus of this the deflecteds also will become the X deflected, and also the Y deflectors will become during to this the cathode ray tubes. And from these tubes you have to consider that like your the electron gas emits a beams of electron cathode ray will be here, and this electron beam passed through the focusing and the deflection systems also will be here. Now during to this the electron beam passes through the focusing, and also the deflections will become during to this the system that directs is towards specified positions on the phosphorus coated screens also will be seen here. The during to your the phosphorus coated screen, and that this phosphorus coated screens will be heated to this, and also you have to created a screen, and also that this image will be displayed during to this the screen. And when the beams hits the screen, the phosphorus emit a small spot, and basically the phosphorus emit a small spot of the light at each position, and during to this the heated of this the screening, and also this position conducted by the electron beam also. And during to this figure you can see that this will be the connected pins, or also the electron guns also will be focused to this, and also that during to this the deflectors also will be comes, and also this phosphorus screen you can see to this end, and during to this the phosphorus end the east, and every reflection beams will be considered according to the small emissions and also a small spots. And you have to consider when the beam hits the screening, the phosphorus emits a small spot of light at each position conducted by the electron beam. And another thing is that it redraws the picture by directing the electron beam. Basically the redraws the picture, and also by directing the electron beam back over the same screen points quickly is here. Also this will be back over the same screen point quickly. You can see there are two ways random scan and also the raster scan, by which we can display an object on the screen also will be here. The you have to see this will be the phosphorus screen, also the deflectors, or this is the U deflectors and the X deflectors and Y deflected, and also the control grid voltage also will be given. This will be maintained during to this, the pink type of color is given the this figure, and also the focusing systems will be given to this, the this rectangle box also will be considered the focusing systems, and also base will be here, the during to this the circular or the cylindrical base will be given, and also the connected connector pins also will be connected to this, and this will be the cathode ray tubes is given. And during to this system, the raster scan will become, and the raster scan will become the in a raster scan system, the electron beam is swept across the screen. This is the beam is the swept across the screen on this one row at a time, from the top to bottom also will be considered according to the raster scan. And this raster scans is the as the electron beam moves across each row. This will be the electron beams is the moves across the each row, and the beam intensity is the turned. You have to consider the beam intensity is turned on and the off to create a patterns of this illuminated spots also will be considered according to the raster scan. And another things, the picture definitions is stored in memory area called the refresh buffer or frame buffers is come during to the or the picture will be considered, and also this is the picture definition is comes is the called the refresh buffer or the frame buffer. And another things, the this memory area holds the set of intensity. Basically the memory area will becomes, this will be set the hold the intensity values for all the screen points. Basically the all screen points you have to record for the intensity values for the all the screening, and the stored intensity values are them the retrieved from the refresh buffer and the painted on the screen on row scan line at the time as shown in the following installations. You can see the basically the these installations will be considered according to this the two type of picture will be given here. And another things you have to consider according to this the random scan vector scans also will be given during toward the random scan and also the vector scans. And in these techniques the electron beam is directed only to the part of the screen where the picture is to be drawn, rather than scanning from the left to right and also the top to bottom in a as in raster scans also will be considered according to this the random scans vector scan also. That previously also will be discussed the raster scan. It is also called the vector display. The stroke writing display also will be considered here. That's like what is the stroke writing display, or what the calligraphics displays also will be considered according to your the random scan vector scans here. The picture definition is stored as a set of line drawing. You have to consider what is the picture, and the picture definition is also the stored, and also this will be considered as a set of line drawings here, and also commands in an area of memory referred to as the refresh display file will become. And another things we can see, to display a specified picture. Suppose you have to display a specified picture, the system cycles through the set of commands in the display file drawing. Each component's line in turn also will be considered. After all the line drawing commands are processed, the system cycles back to the first line commands in the list also will be considered. And another things, the random scan display are designed to draw all the components lines of a picture 30 to 60 times is seconds also will be considered. According to this will be the scan. Basically the this will be display and also the design to draw the components like the picture of the 30 to 60 times is seconds also will be considered. You can see the this will be the figure. Basically the this is the one is the horizontal spacings, and also the scan line also you can see, and also the vertical retrace also will be considered. You can see the different type of scan lines, and then like what the line will be scanned properly, and also the this will be considered according to your the random scan or the vector scans will be comes during toward the scanning line properly. And also you can see in the scanning machine that one ray will be passes through this the one scanning lines. We can consider that is the horizontal retrace, and also the vertical retrace also retrace also will be here, and the each screen points is referred to as a pixel picture elements or pale is considered according to the each screen. And another things the at the end of each screen scan line, the electron beam returns to the left side. That like the each and every scan lines you have to reach to this the return of this the left sides of the screen to being the displays to this the next scan line also will be considered. And another things will be comes here during to this the different type of image will be produced. That like your the type of image is considered according to our the system. That like the computer graphics will be considered the image types, and the two-dimensional images comes is the first. 2D computer graphics are the computer-based generations of digital image, mostly from the model such as digital image, and by techniques specific to them also will be considered according to this the two-dimensional or the 2D computer graphics. And another things, the 2D computer graphics are mainly used in applications that were originally developed upon the traditional printing and also the drawing. The technologies is considered such as topography, and this will be comes during toward the topography. That like your the topology of the image will be procedures and considered during toward the 2D computer graphics. And another things in those applications, the two-dimensional image is not just a representation of a real world object. This is the not is the just a representation of a real world object, but an independent artifacts with the added semantics values, and also the two-dimensional model are therefore prepared because they give more direct control also will be considered of the image than 3D computer graphics, whose the approach is more akin to photography than the typography also will be considered. And pixel art is a large form of digital arts will becomes during toward the pixel art is created through the use of a raster graphic software, where the images are edited on the pixel level. Graphics in the most old or relatives limited, and also the computers and video games graphics, and also the calculator games and the many mobile phones games are mostly pixel arts will be considered according to this type of image. And another thing is the sprite graphics also will be here. A sprite is the two-dimensional image what the animation that is integrated into a larger scans is coming, initially including just a graphical objects. You have to consider according to the graphical objects handled separately from the memory bitmap will be the separately, and also during toward the memory bitmap of a video display. Like the video display, this now includes the various manner of graphical overlays will be counts. And another thing is here, the originally sprites were a methods or integrating unrelated bitmaps so that they appeared to be parts of the normal bitmap on a screen, such as creating an animated character that can be moved on a screen without alternating the data, deforming the overall screens also will be here. And another things, the vector graphics are computer graphics image that are defined in terms of points on a Cartesian plane, and the which are connected by lines and the curves to form polygons and other shapes will be considered according to your the vector graphics. And vector graphics have to have the unique advantages over the raster graphics, in that the points, lines and curves may be scaled up or down to any resolutions with no aliasing. The points determine the directions of the vector path. Each path may have various properties including values for strokes, color, shape, curve, the thickness and feel. And another things and understandings of the advantage and limitations of each technology and the relationships between them is most likely to result in efficient and effective uses of the tool. And the 3D graphics, the 3D graphics compared to a 2D graphics are graphics that uses a three-dimensional representations of graphics data. Geometric data will be come during to the 3D graphics. And another thing is for the purpose of a performance, this is stored in the computer. This includes image that may be for later display or for real-time viewing. Despite these differences, 3D computer graphics rely on the similar algorithms as 2D computer graphics do in the form and raster graphics like in 2D. In the final rendered display will be considered. In computer graphics software, the distinction between 2D and 3D is occasionally. The another thing is that 2D applications may use the 3D techniques to achieve effects such as lighting, and the primarily 3D may use 2D rendering techniques also will be here. And another things, the 3D computer graphics are the same as 3D models. This will be comes during to the same as 3D models. The model is contained within the graphical data file apart from the renderings. However, there are differences that include the 3D model is the representations of any 3D objects. Until the visually displayed, a model is not a graphics, and due to printings, 3D models are not only confined to virtual space will be here. 3D rendering is how a model can be displayed, also can be used in non-graphical computer simulations, and calculations will be done during to the 3D rendering. And another thing is the computer animations. Computer animation is the art of creating moving image. This will be considered the movie image via the uses of computers, and this will be considered according to this the computer animations. It is the subfields of computer graphics and animations. Increasingly, it is the created by means of 3D computer graphics. Though the 2D computer graphics are still widely used for statistics, the low bandwidth and the faster real-time rendering needs also will be here during to your the computer animations. Sometimes the target of the animation is the computer itself, but sometimes the target is another medium such as film will be considered according to the computer animations. During to your the different type of movie and the different type of medium files also will be considered according to the computer animations. It is also referred to as a CGI, that like your the computer generated imagery or the computer generated imaging will be comes during to these systems, and especially when the used in films will be considered during to this the computer animations, and this will be figures is come during to the computer animations. And another things, the virtual entities may contain and be controlled by assorted attributes such as transport values, the location orientation, and the scale stores in an object. The transformations matrix also will be considered, and the animation is the change of an attribute over times also will be considered. According to this, the multiple methods of achieving animation exist. The rudimentary form is based on the creations and the editing of keyframes. The is storing a value of at a given times per attributes to be animated. The 2D by 3D graphics softwares will change with each keyframe, creating an editable curve of a value mapped over time in which results in animations. Over the methods of animations, including procedural and the expressions based techniques, the former considered and the related and also the elements the animated into sets of the attributes also will be considered. And another things will be comes here during to the concepts and principles. And this is the one of this is the pixel in digital image. A pixel or the picture elements in is a signal points in a raster image is comes, and another is considered the pixel are placed at a regular two-dimensional grids and are often represented using dots or squares will become. And another thing, the each pixel is a sample of an original image, but the more sample typically provides a more accurate representations of the originals. The intensity of each pixel is variable. In color system, each pixel has typically three components such as red, green, and blue will be comes during toward the concept of the pixel. And another things, the graphics are visual presentations and on a surface such as the computer screen will be comes. And another things will be comes here during toward the primitives. The primitives are the basic units which a graphic systems may combine to create more complex image or models will becomes. And the examples would be sprites and the characters maps in 2D video games and will becomes, and also the graphics primitives in CAD or the polygons or triangles in the 3D renderings will becomes. And another things here, the primitives may be supported in hardware for efficient renderings or the buildings blocks provided by graphics applications also will be the primitives. And another things you have to consider your the renderings. The rendering is the generations of a 2D image from the 3D model by the means of the computer programs. Sense of the file containers object in a strictly defined the language or data structure. It would contain the geometry viewpoints and also the texture, and sometimes we have to think the lighting and the shadowing informations as a descriptions of the virtual scans also will be here. The data contents in the scans files is then passed to a rendering programs to be processed, and the output to a digital image or a raster graphics image files will be here. The rendering programs is usually the built into the computer graphics software, through other are available as a plugins or entirely separated programs will be comes here. The term the renderings may be abbey by analogy with a artist or the renderings of a sense, although the technical details of renderings methods vary. The general challenges over the products producing a 2D image from this the 3D representation stored in a sense of file are outlines as the graphics pipelines along the rendering device will become. And the ray tracing. The ray tracing is a techniques from the family of image or orders, and also the algorithms for the generating an image by the trackings and the path of a light through pixel in an image plane, and the techniques is capable of producing a high degree of photorealism, usually higher than that of typical line renderings methods, but at a greater computational cost also will be comes here. and another is here is the shading. The shading refers to depicting depth in the 3D models or restorations by varying levels of darkness. And another things, the it is the process used in the drawing for the deep level of the darkness or the paper by applying media more densely or with a dark shade for the darker areas and the less densely or the with the lighter shades for the lighter areas will become. There are various techniques of shading including cross hatchings where the perpendicular lines of very closeness are drawn in the grid patterns of shade are on area. The closer the line are together, the darker the area appears will be here. And another things here, the texture mapping is a method for adding the detailed surface texture or the color to a computer generated graphics or the 3D model. It is the application to 3D graphics was the pioneers by the Dr. Edwin Catmull in 1974. A texture map is applied. The mapped surface of a shape or the polygon. This process is akin to applying patterns paper to a plane with white box. The multitasking is the use of more than one texture at a time on polygon. Procedural texture created from this the adjusting parameters of the underlying algorithm that produces an output textures also will be here, and also the bitmap textures created in an image editing applications or imported from a digital cameras are required. Applications of a computer graphics will be considered, and the few applications is come during toward the computer graphics, and the computer graphics has the numerous applications. Some of these which are listed below. First is the computer graphics user interface, the GUI, as and the a graphics mouse oriented paradigm which allows the user to interact with the computers here. And the business presentations graphics, and this is the business presentation graphics. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And another will be considered the cartography. Cartography is the basically the drawing maps will be comes during toward the cartography. This will be cartis will be considered, and also the different type of drawing maps will be act on this the application of the computer graphics. And another things is here the weather map. The weather maps will be considered during to this the different type of times, and also the different area. Also the symbolic representations will be given during toward the weather maps, and this will be considered according to the real-time mapping. Symbolic representations will be given this like or the weather maps. And also we have to applications during toward the satellite imaging, and the few cases the geodesic image will be produces during toward the satellite imaging, and during toward the satellite the focus will be given to this the satellite imaging, and also the photo enhancements will be used. The sharpening blurred photos will be here, and also the medical imaging. The medical imagings will be considered MRI scans, etc. Also the non-invasive internal examinations will be considered according to the medical imagings. And the few times we can consider the different type of scanning will be done during by this or the medical imaging. And another things will be considered according to the engineering drawings. The mechanical and electrical, civil, etc. will be considered. Not will be the manual drawings. This will be comes during toward the replacement of the blueprints of the post of the past also will be considered during toward the engineering drawings. And the typography, the use of the character image in the publishing, replacing the hard type of the past also will be considered according toward the typography. And another things here the architecture, constructions, plan, exterior sketch, replacing the blueprints and the hand drawings of the past also will be considered according to the architects. And the art, computers provide a new mediums for the artist also will be considered. the trainings, the flight simulators, computer added instructions, etc. also given to this the different trainings, and the entertainments, the movies and games also will be seen during to this the application of this, and the simulations and the modelings will be considered during to the replacing physical modeling, and enhancements also will be considered. And during to this lecture we have to know the computer graphics applications, and also the different type of fundamental of computer graphics will be known during to this lecture. And thank you, student.